Please, can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay. Yeah, so the topic of our conversation today, or I mean, where we are directing our conversation today is of course the blueprint. We're talking about, I mean, when we say blueprint, um, a couple of things come to mind, right? Talk about roadmap, we talk about model, we talk about plan, right? So maybe some of us here are into architecture or maybe into planning, right? Or you watch some movies where you probably see an example. So there's a very popular movie that I watched in the past called Prison Break, a series. Some of us may know about Prison Break here. And then what we had was, I mean, the protagonist of that show, he had like a couple of diagrams, tattoos, right, on his body, right? And these tattoos were actually like the blueprint of a particular prison where he was planning to break out his brother, right? So yeah, so a blueprint is more like a model of a particular thing, and so my focus today is just to talk about or center on how to what we need to do to empower ourselves, right, to build meaningful careers and also that meaningful tech careers for those who are in tech or those who want to get in tech, and also for those who are not in tech to also take advantage of the offerings or the opportunities that tech tools, right, um, can what I mean tech tools can allow you to do. I mean, the world is in a very advanced time, right? We are in the artificial intelligence era, and I think there's nobody, unless maybe you are a hermit staying in and you are cut off from the internet. There's nobody who has not been hit or who has not. There's no. I don't think we there's anybody who has a phone, right? Who can access the internet, who has not heard about the artificial intelligence buzz going all over the world right now. So yeah, so that's what we're going to be talking about. Um, let me go to the next slide. The- All right. So briefly to kind of talk about, because I mean we're focusing on tech. So I just want to probably share in a few minutes my journey into tech. And I mean, we're also talking about purpose here, right? Blueprint, purpose, and all that, right? So so a very important thing to note is that every purpose begins with a story, right? Yeah, I mean, if you look back in history, right, it is, I mean, what we have today is that sometimes we only can look back in hindsight, right, at some things that have happened, maybe even for us individually, in hindsight, you can look back and look at some things that have happened in your life, right, that you can now see that, oh, because of this thing is why this happened, or because of this is why this happened, right? Right. So, I mean, for me, I think my journey into tech, I started probably when I was younger, right? I know that I had an interest in computing, in computers, right? I think back in primary school, I mean back then, right? Having a computer was a luxury, and so my primary school had one computer that we all had to play with. I don't think I can count number of times I actually probably touched the computer, right? But fortunately for me, after primary school, my dad enrolled me and my sister in more like a computer literacy program. I think that also fueled my interest in things relating to computing. I went on to study computer engineering in Obafemi Awolowo University. And yeah, so being in that community, I was able to meet a couple of people, interact with a community that was a vibrant tech community, which both directly and indirectly, if affected or influenced me to where I am today, and even beyond school, right? I've had to work at different companies and meet a lot of wonderful people who I have benefited from in terms of their mentorship, right? And also even those who I have been opportune to mentor, because I think in life, right, um, we learn from each other. It doesn't matter whether someone is beneath you or someone is just starting their journey. So someone at 10 years and someone at 1 year, right? If they are both humble enough, they can learn something from each other. So yeah, so that's just a summary of my journey so far. It's not, the truth of the matter is that it wasn't a straight journey, right? There were times when I wasn't sure of what I wanted to do, right? I mean, currently I am in the software development career path, but there were times I was wondering, do I want to do networking? Do I want to do I mean, a couple of them had the security and all that, right? I wasn't so sure. What did I want to do graphics design? But one thing that I look back and I thank God for was that I was able to lay my hands to do a couple of things, right, along the way. I got into graphics design, I got into a lot of I mean, even in my space, there are different specializations. I did a couple of specializations, and everything just sort of mapped themselves to where I am today. I mean, the journey still continues, right? This today is not the end of the journey, right? So we have a lifetime, right? As God wills. So that's just to share a summary of how my journey is. And so that's something you will find with each and every one of us, right? Not just even in tech, right? Everybody, you start from somewhere. All of us are here, right? There's a reason why you're here today, right? There's something, there was some point of connection you had that made you to be part of this call. You probably saw this online somewhere on WhatsApp, or you are part of the community, right? But that's how it is. So moving forward, without further ado, so we want to talk about what purpose is, right? And so I hope everyone is on that link right now. I would like to, yeah, if you are on that Menti link, right? So I want you to answer a question, right? So let me just change to this, present the screen, right? So by show of hands, please let me know if you are on the screen on that platform right now. Or you could probably send a message in the comment section just to be sure that we have people. So I think we have about 3 people. If I'm correct. I hope there's a way for me to know this. 1 second. All right. All right. I see that Oluwatoyin is part. And so good. Okay, great. All right, so without further ado, so we're going to go to the next slide. First, I want to ask you a question. What's something that made you smile this week? So yeah, I'd like to see. So this is more like an icebreaker question. So type in. I hope you can see an option to type. And if you can, just type it in. What's something that made you smile this week? Ah, awesome. Someone says my wife. Right? So please don't oppress the single people who may be on this group. All right, so I'm waiting for other responses. Don't be shy. just trying to lighten the atmosphere. Okay. You just have one response. All right. Someone wrote family. Someone wrote money. Wow, that's interesting. Okay. I mean, that's valid. That's very valid. Right. Um, yeah.
Sir, I think some other persons are dropping their responses on the
On the
chat. I
chat.
think they need
Oh,
to use the link shared.
yeah.
Um,
Oh,
that's
Please,
where the responses are
if you're having a
required.
challenge with joining, I could probably share the link again.
Yes, yes. I think I just did. So let's use the link shared, the mighty.com link to share our response. Thank you so
All
much.
right. So the reason why I'm having this is so that everyone sees it, right? I mean, you can see my screen, so you can see what people have answered on the screen, right? So someone said their family made them smile. Someone said money made them smile. Someone said, I mean, a couple of people are saying money, right? Which is a valid thing, right? I mean, it is money that we use. We trade with money. We buy and sell with money. So I mean, if you don't have money, how would you do that? Um, yeah. So yeah, I have a couple of answers. I mean, for me, I think it's someone gave me a more like give me an affirmative comment, right, this week, which made me smile, right? So yeah, that's something that made me smile this week. So yeah, thank you all for your responses, and let's just proceed. So the next question I want to ask, right? Now talking about purpose, what comes to your mind when you hear the word purpose? What comes to mind when you hear the word purpose? So drop in that mentee, right? Reason for your responses. If you have any challenge seeing the the place to type, just let me know. All right, yeah. So I see that. We see alignment, vision, God, actualization, responsibility, essence of life. Yeah, brilliant. Like wonderful responses. Yeah. So I think all those things, if we take each and every one of them one after the other, we can tie them to the word purpose, right? I mean, there are a couple of definitions that we could look out for online if we want to, right? Yeah, I think I have one definition as, I mean, the reason for which something is done, the reason for which something is created, right? The reason for which something exists. Now, it doesn't have to be a person, right? Right? There is a reason why you bought a phone, for example, right? There's a purpose for that phone. Um, so there are a lot of um, like definitions. Another definition could be the deeper why behind a thing, like behind. I mean, if you bring it to our persons, right? The reason why you do a thing, right, can be defined as the purpose, right? And all that. So yeah, thank you all for your responses. So we're going to proceed. I think as we go on in the call, we'll come back to the next question that I have in this slide or in this the Mentee link. All right. Yeah, going back to our presentation. So purpose, how we get that purpose is not a job title, right? So the fact that you are a, let me say, I'm looking for maybe a CEO, right? Or maybe you are a brand designer, or maybe you are, I mean, there are a lot of jobs there, whatever you do, right? Yeah, so the purpose is not your job title, right? So what that means is that for someone, whatever you do, right, may not necessarily be purpose, but it could be something else, right? that ties to purpose, basically. So for example, imagine someone asking you, what is your purpose? And you say that, oh, I am a, I am a, I'm a teacher. That's my purpose. Okay, that does not answer the question actually, right? Now, purpose is the value you create with your skills and passion. For example, what does a teacher do, right? A teacher educates, right, and teaches students, right? And in doing that, they are able to, so one, they could refine that statement and say that what's your purpose? My purpose is to educate, to bring students from the point of illiteracy to the point of literacy, right? So that gives it a better definition, right? So another thing to note about purpose is that is an intersection between a couple of things, right? What you love, what you are good at, and what helps others, right? So what you love doing, what you are good at, and what helps others, right? So, I mean, there's the passion part of it, right? And there is the skill part of it, and there is the fact that you want to be useful, right, to probably a community that, right. So we want to distinguish between what we call career goals and also life purpose, right? So there's difference between career goals and life purpose. So even though both actually like have a way of getting into each other, right? So an example to say is that career goals feed into your purpose, right? Of career goals can feed into your purpose, and also your life purpose, on the other hand, right, can define your career goals. Say, for instance, for me, as a software developer, right, it's possible that my next career goal is that in the next 1, 2 years, I want to be the chief technology officer of a company, right, a CTO, right? That's a goal that I am aiming towards, right? I want to be a chief technology officer of a company, or maybe a staff engineer, a principal engineer at the company in 3 years' time, or want to lead a team, right? But however, right, that could feed into my purpose, which could be to use technology, right, to improve people's life, right, or to improve people's quality of life, basically, right? So in some other ways, you will hear people say, oh, maybe your purpose could also be something like maybe a vision or something like that, or and your career goals could be like your maybe mission statement or something like that, right? A university lecturer, right, who is trying to maybe become a professor, right? Right, will go and take a PhD, right? Now that's a career goal. Get a PhD so that you can become a lecturer, then become a professor and the likes. Now, an example of a purpose for that person could be that he wants to help people to unlock their potentials, right, through learning, right? So these examples are just to give us like just to help us to understand the difference between career goals and life purpose. Another thing to note is that our purpose also evolves through our experiences, right? So what I mean is that at some point in time, right, you may not be able to define explicitly, right, what or let me repeat that. So what I mean is that maybe in your first 20 years, there's something that you may be focusing on as purpose. And then at 20, right, you probably have achieved maybe a particular, maybe about 50% of that. And then what then happens is that because you have attained a particular stage, that purpose may metamorphose into something else, which is bigger. I don't know if I'm passing a point across there, right? So our purpose could metamorphose or evolve through the experiences we go through as we gain more life experiences, as we meet people, as we go through different experiences, be it ugly experiences, be it wonderful experiences. These things may evolve, right, as we go on in life. All right. So going on, what you see on my screen is just a visualization of of purpose. So what you can see in the center is a sweet spot of where we all want to get to, right? In terms of purpose, right? We want to like doing what we love, what we are good at, and also something that helps others, right? A very key thing is something that helps others, I have to say, in that it's not something that serves yourself, right? You're not, well, I think that we're not in this world to serve ourselves, right? We're in this world to serve others, right? One way or the other, right? So even for some of us who are working at companies, right? I mean, I think last week was customer service week, I recall, right? So the goal is that you want to serve your customers. Of course, the customer is supposed to give you something for that service. Do you get right? But I mean, the end goal is that yes, some people's needs are met, right? And even for you as a person, you get some form of not just some form, but you get a high level of fulfillment, right, from actually um, doing what you do to help others, right? So now coming back to technology, right? So why is technology a purpose accelerator, right? So when we say accelerator, we are saying something that helps to enhance, right, or to speed up, right? Or to what's the word now, right? To boost basically purpose or something that can help you to achieve. Let me just use that word, achieve, right? So the reason why is that technology can help you to amplify. I think I was thinking back. Yeah, so I was I don't know if everybody here is a Christian chap, but it's just a very good analogy here. So I think it was last week or some days ago, I was like, if Jesus was on this earth in this time, right? Don't we think that he's going to make use of the different platforms that we have today? I'm talking about Instagram. I'm talking about I mean the social media platforms and the likes that we have, right? Why? Because these things would help to amplify or help to like spread the message in a particular way. I mean, if not anything, maybe use YouTube live stream, right? Because when you stream on YouTube, right, everybody's able to watch from all over the globe. You can get down, you can, by means of technology, get a message from here in Nigeria to someone in Australia, which is at the other end of the world, right? And the person gets it in a second, in less than a second, right? So I was just thinking about that. I mean, that's more like a point to ponder on, right? So technology serves as something that can help to amplify an idea, right? Or turn an idea into something that is scalable. I mean, there are a lot of examples that we have, right, in the world today, and I know that a lot of us know a couple of examples. I'm just going to be touching on a couple of them here, right? So there's this very popular movie that I watched some years back, right? Yeah. So has anybody seen this movie, The Boy Who Harnessed the Wind? Has anybody seen this movie, The Boy Who Harnessed the Wind? You can just probably send a chat in the group um, if you have seen the movie. Um, right, see that a couple of people have seen the movie, right? Very interesting and inspiring, right? Movie, if you ask me, right? Because I mean, talk about a boy by the name of William who, just to summarize, um, used technology to solve the problem in his village, the problem of drought in his village by using technology. Something he did. What did he do? He went into books. He studied by books and figured out how to harness wind power, right, to generate electricity, right, and also water, right? And I mean, this was made into a movie. That shows a very good example of someone who actually he loves what he's doing because he loves reading, right? And then is I mean, if you go back by our definition, here we're talking about what you're good at, what you love, and what helps others, right? That's one example that we can point to, right? As I mean, purpose in action that is being accelerated by, I mean, technology. And there are a couple of other examples out there. Another example is M Pharma, right? So this particular company, I mean, I'm focusing on Africa because I mean we're Africans. I think most of us are Africans here, right? So this is a product by an African, right? Tailored towards the pharmaceutical industry, and basically what it's doing is using data-driven technology to manage prescription drug inventories for pharmacies and hospitals, right? So this is someone who is also using technology to accelerate something, a vision they have, and to also like to get some purpose fulfillment, yeah, some purpose fulfilled basically, right? And because of what it's doing, right? I think there was something about reduction in prices, right, for people who are trying to buy drugs and all that. Yeah, another example. This is I like this one. So the company is High Med Tech. Basically, what they do is that they build custom prosthetics, right, for people. Something that is affordable, right? And they use I think they use local materials, I think, right? I mean, and they use 3D printing basically to print those things. And I mean, that means they've reduced costs, right? And they're making this available to people, right? At affordable prices, I think, and also maybe, I mean, they can easily do mass production, right? Compared to companies probably in the West who would where these things would be expensive. So those are a couple of examples we have, and I know there are a couple of them that you know. Which brings me to the next question here. Let me see. I think I wrote that question down. 1 second. Did I? Let me see. Oh yeah. So please, I want you to give me an example of an idea, right? That leverage one idea that you know, or a product out there which you know, right? Is leveraging technology, right? Yeah. So we've drawn a couple of examples and you've seen in my slides. So I just want you to think about it. Um, because I know that we are all students of life, right? So, what example can you give an example of something you've seen out there, products or something you see and that was done, an idea that materialized because technology was used, right? Okay, so waiting for some responses. Right. Food market linkage platforms. Awesome. Afrimash, Cobot 360. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Cobot 360 is a logistics company, right? So they use technology to solve the problem of logistics, right? I think Afrimash is related to agriculture, if I'm correct. Yeah. All right. So I'm waiting for other examples. They should not be hard, and it should not be hard for us to think about them. I mean, you use some of them on in your um, everyday, everyday living, basically. A very good example is I mean, I don't know if anybody uses Child Deck here. Child Deck is a platform that has helped to solve the problem of food delivery. Yeah, so Child Deck is one of those platforms that helps to solve the problem of food delivery. And I mean, they're expanding into other things. Any other one? I mean, that we have fintech. Please, if you can, try to put it in the Menti platform so that people can see it, or unless you're having a challenge writing it. Yeah, I see that someone wrote Uber, right? So Uber the use of technology to solve a problem. Yeah, that's correct also, right? Online classes, yeah, online classes is a very important one. I do not have to be in Harvard, right, to get an Harvard degree in today's world, right? I think that's an example. I can study from here. I can get an online degree, right? I can learn from courses, right? So we have a lot of online platforms that offer courses that we can use to like increase our skill acquisition, right? And also knowledge, right? So yeah, I mean, good examples I have there. Some people put it in the charts. Yeah, so good examples. So thank you very much for collaboration. So let's just proceed with what we are doing. All right, so there are a couple of opportunities we have in technology, right, in terms of career. I mean, the tech ecosystem is so broad, it's increasing day by day. I mean, truth be told, a lot of people are saying, and what we hear today is that artificial intelligence has come and a couple of jobs would be eroded, right? But I think what's happening, we've not really seen a big, at least as of today, right? We've not really seen what the doom that people are saying in terms of job losses because of artificial intelligence, right? Instead, what we are seeing is that um, we are seeing like more complex work is being brought out, right, by reason of artificial intelligence. So what that means is that some things that are very basic will be taken over by these tools, right? And that gives us room as human beings to expand our mind. That I mean, for those who want to do that, give them room to pursue and expand their mind to do more complex things, right? So that's what we are going to see in a couple of years. There will be more jobs that would be more than basic, basically. So the basic things would go. For example, so this thing, what's happening today is not as though it's not happening in the past before, right? There was a time when we didn't have mechanized farming, right? But then mechanized farming came into the picture, and then a farmer could use a tractor, right, to clear his whole field, right, in one day. Something that will probably take maybe 10 people and take them 10 days to do, right? So that's what we are seeing. So the people who were doing the tilling of the ground are free to expand their mind to do other things that that at that time technology could not afford to do, basically. So that's what we're going to see, right? And what that means for each and every one of us is that we need to upskill. We need to upskill, we need to adopt, we need to adapt to the times, right? So, I mean, there are a lot of roles that are coming out that are AI centric. In this, I think I was when I was trying to prepare for this webinar, I was trying to look at what roles we have out there. And I mean, there are a couple of them like artificial intelligence, product manager, AI. I mean, I think there's a particular one which is to vet some of the output of artificial intelligence, right? But nevertheless, there are some roles that still exist today that would not go. An example is, I mean, data science. Data science is something that is here to stay, would not erode in time because data is something that you can train AI on, right? Cybersecurity, you need to secure AI systems, right? So that's one of the platforms or career paths that is here to stay, right? There will all what we will see in the near future is going to be a boom in cybersecurity hiring, right? Because people want to protect their AI systems and all that. And I mean, AI products are being built, so you still need product managers and all that. And you still need software engineers, right? So we're not going anywhere, just to say that. So these are some of the opportunities that still abound in today's world, right? So for anyone who is currently in tech field or is looking to get into tech field, right? So I mean, these are some of the areas you can look at and start, I mean, doing your research on to see which of them you think you have more affinity for. Now, going on, we want to talk about what it takes to build a purpose-driven career in technology. So, from what you can see on my screen there, I have a statement. Your career is not just what you do, it's the value you create, the people you impact, and the purpose you fulfill, right? So, your career is what? Is the value you create, is the people you impact, right? Service to others, and the purpose you fulfill, right? So, basically, we're talking about how your career also can what would I call it now, right? Feed into the fulfillment of your life purpose, right? Yeah. So if you remember early on, we had talked about the differences between career goals and also purpose. So yeah, going on, one of the foundational, I mean, blueprints, right, for you to have or to build a purpose-driven career, basically, is to know your why. Um, Know your why, know the foundation. The foundation, what's the foundation of that of having a purposeful career, basically. So know your why, what is your motivation, right? Why are you getting into this? Is it because you want to I mean, that is, I mean, it takes you sitting down, right, and writing some things down. It also takes you probably consulting people, right, who may have gone ahead, right, to sort of identify why you want to actually get into whatever career path you choose, right? Because once you know your why, right, it's something that will serve as your launch pad. Yeah, that's the word. It's going to serve as your launch pad, right? And something that would always get you. So more like whenever you, for example, whenever a ship is lost at sea, what happens is that the captain would always look at the compass, right, to identify or to sort of navigate or know where they are in time, basically. So you knowing your why will serve as your compass so you do not derail or lose track of why you are getting into a career path. So another blueprint is for you to discover your strengths and also transferable skills, right? So we're talking about strengths. And I mean, for you to discover your strengths, it means that you need to have probably tried a couple of things. So, for example, in my own career path, right, when I was back in school in Ife, I did a couple of things. I did graphics design, I did product design, UI UX design. I mean, I was into mobile applications development, and I did a couple of things that even beyond school, where I started working, I was opportune to work in a startup that allowed me to do a lot of things. And then from there, I discovered that, oh, I prefer to do the specialization. I don't like this one. I like this one, right? And that helped me to strengthen myself in the area where I saw that I love doing, right? So I love doing mobile applications development. I did that for a time. In 2017, I switched to front end, and that's what I think I'm doing primarily right now, even though I'm taking other things. So that leads me to point number two. So point number two says build T-shaped expertise. So currently, I think um I have more expertise as a front-end applications developer. However, where I currently work, I have been given the opportunity to work in other things that do not relate to front-end applications development. So what does that mean? My strongest suit is front-end, but then that has given me opportunity to spread my wings. So that's something we're talking about here. You discover your strengths and consolidate your strengths, and then once you have consolidated, you can afford to expand. So you don't want to be someone who's just, oh, I know how to do this thing and this thing alone, right? Because life is in phases, right? And you want to be able to also like get to like acquire some other skills that are necessary. Um, yeah. So the last point there is leveraging learning platforms. So a couple of learning platforms out there, Udacity, Udemy, MOOCs, and all that, right? That you can join on, and even communities that you can use to like sharpen your skills, right? So yeah, something else, another blueprint is experimentation, right? So experimentation is very important. You don't want to be someone who is so, oh, because I am a data analyst, right? I stick with data analysis and I don't want to do any other thing, right? So when there's an opportunity for you to lead in your team, you want to jump at that opportunity, right? Because while you are doing that, what happens is that you are stretching yourself, right? And you're able to see some other talents that may be hidden, right? By reason of you taking up those opportunities, right? Another one is being being a person who likes to volunteer and volunteer for things basically. So what I'm saying is that there are probably things that are going on all around that, for example, someone maybe there is um, a project out there, right? And they need someone that has the expertise, right? You don't want to be the kind of person who is like, oh, because they are not paying me, oh, I am not going to do this thing, right? So, but if you volunteer, there is an opportunity for you to learn something, meet new people, impact some other people's lives, right? And also add that thing to your collection of things that you've done, right? So an example for me is that I think so far, I mean, Femi was mentioning it. I have had the opportunity to do mentorship for a couple of people in the past 3 years, kind of, right? So what happened? There were platforms that reached out to me and asked, "Oh, are you available to mentor people?" Right? And then I said, "Oh, yes, I'm available." And I think even we should be starting a new one, right? A new season or session of that mentorship program next week, right? Next week, Saturday. So these opportunities present themselves. I carve out time for my busy schedule to pour out into people for my experiences. All right, so that's not about that. You want to experiment, you want to explore and evolve. Um, yeah, another blueprint, and I think I'm trying to look at the time. I think I want to see how we can get this thing moved forward speedily. Another blueprint is connection and contribution, right? So the key word here is community, right? So you want to be part of a community. There's a popular saying, no man is an island, right? So you want to be part of a community, you want to build networks, you want to share knowledge, and you want to collaborate for impact. These things are very important. Networking is very important. Building networks, right, is very important. I mean, not just building networks for buildings for networking sake alone, but a purposeful building of network. I mean, towards a particular goal, right? So how can you build networks, right? You have to be part of communities or join communities that give you that opportunity, right, to meet new people through whom you can then like maybe collaborate together on stuff. And you don't necessarily even need to collaborate. What happens is that down the line, maybe 2 years, 3 years, you never know what opportunity may present itself, and someone will just call you and say, I know you do this thing, right? Can you come and we need your services? Come and help us with this product, right? And so what happens before you know, maybe you and that person are building the next big thing in life, right? Something else is about sharing knowledge. So whatever you learn, try to find a way to express it, right? Whether it's by writing articles, whether it's by teaching others or mentoring others, find a way to express what you learn. Do not be a sponge, right? You want to also want to be you want to be someone who also shares whatever they learn, right? Find a way to express whatever you learn. And I think the final thing there is collaboration for impact. Okay, one other blueprint, um, right? I mean, all these blueprints I've been talking about, right? They're like building blocks. Now, they are not extensive. There are other things that you can do, right? But these are some of the things that you need to see. So if you are already doing some of these things, right, I think you are on a very good path, right, in your journey to fulfilling purpose. That's what that's the point I'm trying to make. If you can see that you're already doing some of these things, you don't have to do all, right? Um, you are doing some of these things, you are seeing that you are committed to continuous learning, you are connecting and contributing, you are experimenting. That means you are on the pathway. So my word to you is that you should not give up. Just keep doing what you're doing, right? So commit to continuous learning. Do not do not shy away from feedback, right? Always look for feedback and also improve from feedback that will give to you. Have a growth mindset, right? Have a good mindset, get feedback and also improve from feedback. Never say that I cannot do anything, right? I always try to correct, even myself, I always try to correct myself that I should not say that I can't do a thing, right? Instead, what I should say is that, oh, I don't know how to do this thing yet. Okay, how can I get to know how to do that? And do I need to go and take a course or do I need to study something? Do I need to learn a skill? Do I need to enroll for a program for me to get that skill to do this particular thing, right? So that's what we call the growth mindset. The other thing is to master emerging tech. Um, so that makes me to also speak to people who are not in tech, right? So because you are not in tech does not mean that you don't have anything to do with learning emerging tech, right? For example, I do not know if everybody here has actually made use of ChatGPT, right? If you have not, I think you should endeavor to try and use ChatGPT. Try to learn what we call so there's something called prompting, right? How to prompt an AI tool. Um, there are a lot of free courses out there. I think Google also released some free courses out there that you can use to learn. So Google have their own tool called Gemini, right? There are a couple of them out there. Try to know how to use these tools, right? So remember that when we were young, right, the goal was to be literate, right? Know how to read and write. Now, this is in this current age, right? The goal is to be AI literate. Everybody needs to be AI literate. It doesn't matter. Even for those for I think if I was to be part of the policy makers of this country, one thing I would push for is ensuring that even the younger generation, right, start being AI literate from a young from their young age, right? Start training them in AI literacy, which is something that's very important as we keep advancing in these times, right? So yeah, master emerging tech, very key. All right. So that's um all I want to like say, especially with respect to some of the blueprints, right, or things that you need to take note of, right, if you are building a career in tech, right? The things you need to note, things you need to sort of that serve as your maybe like guidelines or things you need to ensure that you are doing to build a purposeful career in tech. Now, we want to talk about um, the transformative power of tech across industries, right? So I mean, we have mentioned some of them before, right? But and I know that this is not new to anybody, right? So tech has transformed a lot of industries, right? agriculture, healthcare, education, finance and businesses, and even the creative industry. So there's a new, for example, now there is a new tool that was released recently by OpenAI. I'm trying to remember the name. I think it's called Sora, right? So what does Sora do? Sora is supposed to help you to generate AI, help you to get AI generated videos. So they are building a social media platform of AI generated videos, right? Now, what I read is that so far they released it probably last week. They already have 1 million downloads. That's to tell you the impact of tech, right? In terms of digital distribution in the creative industry, right? So the creative industry is actually booming now. You see everybody's opening up ring lights, doing content creation, right? That's tech for you, right? So there is an advantage that tech gives to you, gives somebody who makes use of it, right? Especially if it's for responsive, if you use it responsibly, right? So what I'm trying to point out is that for everyone here who doesn't have a career in tech, that is tech focused, that does not mean that you do not leverage technology. So you need to find a way to use technology as a tool to enhance your field, right? So for somebody who is into blogging or writing, definitely you want to make use of tools like maybe Grammarly, right? Or even the Microsoft Copilot if you use the Office, Microsoft Office tools, right? Find a way to make use of these tools, right? Of course, you don't want to use them to the point where they replace your thinking, right? That's the reverse side of it. Instead, you want to use them to enhance your productivity. That's the goal, right? So tech has transformed agriculture, right? We have, I mean, I don't want to go through these things I've written there, but these are examples of ways that tech has transformed different industries. And if you look into your industry, I'm sure you can find something. You find something that tech has transformed. Now, when I say tech, I'm not talking about IT alone. I'm not talking about software, right? Tech is vast, right? It's not programming. It's not that. Tech is vast. It's more than that. All right. So going forward, I think I have here how to build a purpose, building stuff to purpose. I don't want to talk too much on this because of time. I think we spent about 50 minutes. So, but just to mention a couple of things here, right? So a purpose-driven career is built through consistent growth and contribution, right? It's built through mentorship, learning and giving back. We already talked about that, right? We also talk about continuous learning, right? We talk about networking, and we talk about community involvement. So this is just a summary of the things that we've talked about previously. So what's the call to action, right? The call to action for, we're rounding up now, right? So the call to action is that you need to, if you've not started, right, you need to begin using some of the blueprints that we've outlined there, or even you could also create your own custom blueprint, right? Using some of the things that I've mentioned as guidelines, right? So all it takes is one action at a time, right? So it is, you know, when they say that um, little drops of water form a mighty ocean, right? So all it takes is one small action at a time. You start from one place, right? I mean, you have your lifetime to get to explore and find purpose in what you're doing, right? But you just need to start somewhere, right? And the other thing you want to ask yourself is that what skill can you grow today that would help you to create value for others, right? That can help you in the pursuit of purpose and discovery of purpose, right? And on the final note, as a call to action, right, I want to encourage us to move from thinking to doing, which would then lead us to living purposefully, right? So you don't want to be a think tank or someone who just overthinks, right? You need to take action, right? One small action at a time, right? It is from that action that you can even know, oh, should I proceed or should I not proceed? Should I try something else? And all that, right? So we want to move from thinking to doing and then living purposefully. Yeah, so that's where my slide ends. I think I have, okay, yeah. I probably have one more question to ask, right? So that's just a summary of what I want to share today, and I hope that I've been able to communicate some ideas or some insights to us all, right? In the course of this session, right? So thank you very much. I want to ask a final question. The final question I have here um, is this. In one sentence, what would be your takeaway? Oh, sorry, what's happening? In one sentence, what would be your takeaway from this session we've had, right? So, what's that one thing that I know that probably some people are taking notes or you've learned a couple of things, but in one sentence, what is your takeaway from this session we just had, right? Based on having a purposeful career or leveraging tech in your career. So, what is one sentence your takeaway from this webinar? Yeah. So, while I'm waiting for responses, I think for me, one takeaway for me is that, yeah, I need to. I mean, I've been doing a couple of things, right? I already mentioned that I have a mentorship session starting next week, right? I think for me, one thing I need to do more is write more. My takeaway for this is write more. I think I've not done a good job at writing, um, as part of ways for me to express, right? So that's something I would need to work on. Okay, so we have one of our responses here to put into use the existing tech tools in my work and business. Great. So that's something that's very encouraging, right? That you want to make use of tech tools. Yeah. So thank you for your contribution to the individual that posted that. So I'm waiting for other responses. You need a response? And if you cannot, maybe you can drop it in the chat so we can just read it out.
Exactly. So if we're unable to click the meter Metimeter link, we can as well drop it on the chat.
Drop it in the chat if you can't see the link.
Definitely read it out here quickly.
If you want to share it in the group, I can actually do this.
Do we have any other comments? Okay, thanks for resharing, sir.
Yeah, so
Okay, someone says, don't say minutes.
don't say I can't do something.
Don't say I can't do
I'm yet to
something.
learn it.
Instead,
Yeah, so that's talking
I'm yet
about the
to
growth
learn it.
mindset.
Yes,
Having a growth mindset in that instance, moving from thinking to doing. Yeah.
to doing
Want to
fantastic.
be, there's a popular Nike slogan that says, just do it, right? So just do it. Don't overthink it. Do it. And from there, you can then learn maybe a way not to do something or a way to do something better, right? So someone put in there, we can leverage knowledge and latest information and tech tools to start somewhere. Example, AI, right? So yeah, we that's something that that's a very good point. Leveraging latest information and tech tools, right? So thank you for your contribution. Okay, yeah, so without further ado, okay, there's something else. replacing scarcity mindset with a growth mindset. Also, right? Yeah, we need to have a growth mindset. I think it's a very important thing. There's this particular book. It's a popular book by a very accomplished author. I can't remember the growth mindset. I think that's the title of the book, right? So I don't know if anybody has read that book in this place, right? I think it's a good book to read, right? Can help you to be more aware of areas where one needs to address, right? Because I think in this part of the world, if we're not careful, most of us were probably raised having a fixed mindset. It's either you can do something or you cannot do something, right? Especially with the educational system back then, right? Maybe in today's time, we have what we call Montessori education. Back then, I don't think we had anything like Montessori education. Maybe some schools had it, right? But I'm not sure that the public schools had it. So, yes, education is changing today. Yeah. All right. So I think we can end there. Thank you very much, everyone, for being part of this, and really appreciate the time. So that ends my presentation. I've added my email and my LinkedIn profile there for anyone who wants to like probably ask further questions um from this session. So thank you, and back to you, Mr. Femi.
Thank you so much, Mr. Tunde. Can we just give him lovely emojis? Can we have reactions on the chat? Let's just appreciate our speaker, Mr. Tunde Ojediro, for taking time out to lecture us. It's been a lecture for the past about one hour now. I've personally learned a couple of things. Um, for me, I think one of the statements you made, made me to rethink what purpose means. He said, purpose is the value you create with your skills and passion. I mean, it is the value you create with your skills and passion. So, as far as you have some level of skills and you have passion driving that, you're already fulfilling purpose, and I think we can take that across all board in whatever field we're into. You are actually fulfilling purpose. You are actually fulfilling purpose. And as mentioned, I mean, we have so many tools today, tech tools that you can leverage. I mean, one of the things I wrote down was the word ChatGPT. I mean, you are a writer, you are an artist. You can leverage on ChatGPT for a lot of things. I mean, I use it personally. You are planning, you are a strategic thinker, anything ChatGPT can. It should be your buddy, it should be your friend now, to give you insight on a lot of things. So even though you're not actually in tech, you can leverage a number of tools, to be a better person and to feel more purpose. So thank you so much, Mr. Tunde. I don't know, do we have questions? We have about maybe 5 more minutes left to wrap up today's session. We have the continuation of this program next week, but on this topic, do we have any question? I know it's been interesting so far. Any question from our audience? Thanks for being engaging today. Do you have questions from us? You can drop it on the chat box or just raise your hand and unmute yourself to ask your question. Anybody? Um, while we do that, let me also tell us that this program is also being streamed on our YouTube. We will share the link shortly for us as well to rewatch the entire session after now. Additionally, as well, we also like us to rename our our profile here. I'm seeing a lot of Aiba errors, and I think because I did share my link directly. So let's rename our profile so we know who is on the call, right? And if possible, if you've not registered, please share your email as well via this chat so that we can engage you after now. If we need to share resources like the presentation slides, for example, it is through those medium we can able to share that with us. So please kindly rename your profile here. as well as share your email address for those that didn't register online, only join via the link. Thank you so much. Do you have question? Anyone? Question. Um, I actually have one question here, and I'm speaking on behalf of a number of persons here. Um, you know, and the thing is around for someone that is not a techie person and really desire to move into the tech world, what advice will you give such an individual? You know, for someone that, of course, their mindset has always been when you talk about tech, you talk about coding, you talk about, those complex, stuffs. But, such person is not interested in those fields, but want to be, in the tech world. What advice would you give such an individual who wants to transit career-wise now from, the non-tech, job, career to the tech career? What advice would you give? Thank you. I don't know if
Yeah.
you get the question,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah. Thank you.
All
Sorry,
right.
got to mute myself. That's a very good question. Yeah, let me give an example. So, I was working at a company, right? Some 2017 to 2020, so that's about be 6 years back, thereabout. Um, so I mean, there are a couple of departments, right, or strategic business units, um, tailored towards different sectors: aviation, education, finance, and all that. So I was just want to use the story of, I just want to use the story of some some ladies I knew back then. So there was a particular lady who used to work in customer care, in the education unit, right? And I mean, she said she was interested in tech. Now, what happened, right? What did she do? Right? She spoke to her line manager, right? And then she spoke to the maybe the tech lead, right? Or maybe the CTO, something like that, that oh, she would like to transition to tech. And then what happened? They gave her the opportunity to transition. Of course, I think what they said was that if she was transitioning, I mean, I think she probably started in a lower grade, right? Because the payment bands in this company was different, right? As per what they were paying, customer care and also that. So she had to start like small, basically. But because she was passionate about it, right, she decided to make that transition. I mean, today, right, she is a senior quality assurance engineer. I know that we work in that company, we worked in another company together. And I mean, she's doing great things today. Now, that's one story out of many people I know in that company who did that. So what am I saying there? I mean, the lesson there is that wherever you are, right, try to find an opportunity where you are. So I would not advise somebody who is working at a company maybe to say, oh, because you want to join tech, you leave that company and you are left stranded. I mean, you need to find a way, you need a way to sustain yourself while you're doing transitioning, right? So try to find, maybe you have some allies, right, in that company where you work, who can give you some advice. Oh, I want to transition to tech, right? What can I do within this company, right, to ensure that I'm able to do the transition? And they can create a transition program for you. Now, that may come with some sacrifices. Maybe it's that, oh, because you're leaving a role, right, and you're coming here, right, we probably need to slash your salary because you will not be of advantage to us if you are coming to tech because you are learning from the beginning, right? So you may need to take that sacrifice because I mean you have a goal that you want to be in that space. So that's one lesson or one advice I would give for anybody if you're working in a company and you want to transition. Use the advantage of you working in that company. If they have a tech field, try and transition. I know of the story of somebody who said, I mean, guy works in Google now. He said that he started as a technical support in a company, right? So he wasn't doing coding or anything. He wasn't doing anything like that. He started as technical support, IT, fixing maybe computers and all that. And from there, he started transitioning gradually. Maybe from there, he moved to networking, to security, and then he got into, software development and all that. So it's a gradual process, right? You will be the one to map it. It will not be a straight line, right? It's you need a couple of steps, right? To get you there. But you need to just understand that you need to take the first step. Find allies in your company who are in that space, and have conversations with them, help them, like let them help you draw up a transition program, something that would be accepted by the organizations, this thing. And if the organization is not into now the challenge there is if the organization is not into something like that, like, oh, we do not need an extra person, right? Now that could pose a challenge. What you can do, and our advice is that, don't leave your job, right? If you can do some research to figure out what you want to do. Let's say, for example, you are someone who is interested in technical writing. What that means is that, oh, I do not know. Now, this is growth mindset in play. I don't know how to do technical writing right now. I would like to get into technical writing. How do I start? Oh, there are some courses made by Google, right, for technical writing. I will start taking those courses. Oh, do they have exams or certificates? I'll do that. Okay, are there communities that exist about technical writers? I'm going to join those communities. I'm going to make friends, or I'm going to make connections in that community, such that if opportunities arise, maybe even for open source or maybe volunteer opportunities, I'm able to volunteer, and then I get that volunteer experience. I put it on my resume, right? Oh yes, I have this experience. I can use that to push for other opportunities. So if you see that I've kind of drawn a map, an example of how things can be for somebody who is working at the company, whether the company is favoring them for whatever they want to do, or the company does not accept them to transition. Right. So I hope that answers the question um, that you posed.
Yes, it does. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that insight. And lastly, as we wrap up quickly, I know there are one more question. It says, can strategic partnership help in actualizing purpose in this age and time? Can
Okay.
strategic partnership help in actualizing purpose in this age and time?
Okay. So good question. So strategic partnership. I think that that statement actually answers itself, right? If you have a strategic partnership, like I think I made a statement, the popular statement, no man exists alone, or no man, how do they put it now? No man is an island. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's nobody who you are seeing out there. For example, sorry, I'm going to use a biblical reference here. Um, a Moses, right, had an Aaron, right, a Miriam, and a guy called Hor. He also had um what's his name now? Joshua, right? So nobody exists alone. So those are partnerships that happened, right? And today there is no successful people. Even for example, the boy who harnessed the wind, you will say that the boy is a small boy, right? But no, he had a great mind, but he had support systems. His daddy was not at first supportive. I'm learning from the movie I watched. The daddy was not supportive, but eventually became supportive. His sister, right, was married. I think his sister was supposed to go to school, but the money that she was supposed to use to go to school, she gave it to him to go and buy equipment, and because of that, she couldn't go to school. Then she married somebody. Sacrifices were made, right? So what I'm saying is that partnerships are like the very foundation of purpose fulfillment. So partnerships does not necessarily mean it can be family, right? It could be people who are not family, right? It doesn't have to be You have to go over mountains and valleys to find a partner in whatever you want to actualize, right? It can be someone who is close by, right? You may not even know that this person is already partnering with you, but they are partnering with you. I think most of us, right, where we are today, our parents, in a way, our education, right, is because of a partnership. In a way, you can call it partnership. Our parents sponsored us, right? It's an investment, right? And then we're where we are today. So it will be a bad partnership if we are not excelling in our careers or we are not um, good products of the investment of our parents. Do you get my point? Right. So strategic partnerships are very important. They help in actualizing purpose, if not faster, right? You say you say one can chase a thousand, right? And two, which is 10,000, right? So yeah, you need partnerships.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much. We can't do without, you know, partnership. I mean, God has created us as social being. We can't do without, partner with another person. So thank you so much once again, Mr. Tunde Ojediro. And I think that will make a wrap for tonight. I mean, it's been a wonderful 1 hour 30 minutes. I know we started around 7:10 sharp. It's been a very interesting 1 hour 30-minute session. Great, presentation, and we appreciate our speaker. We're hopeful that you will share us the presentation slides so that we can as well, share that with with others as well, maybe after the
I'll send
session.
it
I
across
hope
after.
that's possible, sir.
I'll send, oh yeah, I'll send it. I just downloaded it right now. So I'll share
Okay.
with you.
All right, great. Thank you so much. As mentioned as well, we can rewatch this video on our YouTube platform and reshare the link. Watch the presentation by Mr. Tunde Ojediro. It's amazing. I believe you also learn a lot from it. And if you've not registered, please kindly register so that you can be able to share the presentation slide after this session. The blueprint hasn't ended. It continues next week with another refreshed team and speaker. So let's watch out for that. And I pray that Lord bless you greatly in the name of Jesus. Thank you so much, everyone, and do have a lovely rest of the weekend. Thank you so much. Bye.